Have you been trying to get that classic slow blues harmonica sound, but when you do it, it's just not quite right? Well, stick around for today's video because I'm going to share tips that will help you play slow blues in a more soulful way, and stay to the end because number 5 might change everything. So let's talk about it. A slow blues is slow. Obviously, duh. But here's the thing. A lot of times we go into the jam and we try to play fast, play like we're doing normally. And this is a concept you need to get about music, is that we want to play with the music. We want the music to play us. We don't want to impose our ideas onto the music. And this is a heady way of saying that don't play fast all the time. If you're playing over slow music, embrace the slowness. It can be really beautiful. Check it out. So not only am I not playing really fast there's another thing that's going on that I want you to get, is that every note that I'm playing, it's a little delayed. Like I'm kind of just a touch behind the beat. Listen. I'm not really tight and rigid, okay? And this is one of the things that you can do to get that slow blues sound and get that dialed in. Now, you want to embrace the slow, but you also don't want to just stay there, right? We need to change things up to make it more interesting, because contrast is the spice of music. And if you want to add some contrast into your slow blues playing, you got to do something fast every once in a while too. So this is how I want you to think about it. Your general playing is slow, a little behind the beat, right? And then every once in a while you throw in a fast run or a trill or a repetitive triplet to spice things up. So let me add that to my plan. Let's take a listen. Here we go. Sounds really good, right? So you don't want to do this all the time. You gotta be a little reserved with the use of fast phrases, because if you do them all the time, you'll lose the magic that makes the slow blues really special. Now, one thing that you also want to do as you're trying this is you want to mix up major and minor. So let's talk about scales. Most of the time in a slow blues, it's going to be in a major key. This one's in G major. Sometimes it's going to be in a minor key. In a major key, you can use both the major pentatonic, the no-bend blues scale, or the blues scale, minor pentatonic, natural minor. Essentially, you got to pick major or minor, but a lot of cool things happen when you start mixing these up. So I suggest you start this out with a scale that you know really well, and if you don't know your scales, check out my free scale cheat sheet. The link is down below in the description. I'll help you out with this. Now, you go and practice one of these scales, you start doing it. Now, once you're good with, let's say, the major pentatonic, then you start throwing little sections of the blues scale in there. And I really want you to think about this like you're switching between a track, like a major track and a minor track, because if you keep it as a jumble in your head, you're just not going to sound as musical. So I'm going to mix it up. Take a listen. Here's just major. Here's just minor with the blues scale. Now here's them both combined. kind of subtle, but when you play phrases that use both elements of the major and the minor, you're going between those tracks. It makes things really interesting, especially getting some of the notes that had a lot of tension. Let's say 5 draw. That note just, ooh, it starts making you feel like, you know, things are building up and it wants to resolve, right? Which you can do. There's a lot of different ways to handle it. Same thing with 6 draw. Going back to 6 blow. It's just fun to mix these up. Adds a lot of spice to your music. In a lot of genres, you can't mix things up very well, but in the blues, you can. So take advantage of it. You know, if you can do that, mix up major and minor. If you want some examples of how to make different phrases over a slow blues, some that use major, some that use minor, you might want to check out the slow blues examples in my Blues Trainer program, which was just released. Go learn more by clicking the link down below in the description. All right, so another thing that you can do, and I suggest this in your playing in general, but it really is impactful on a slow blues, is to just add some wah or vibrato at the end of your phrases, okay? It makes it very simple. If you are struggling with vibrato, if that's new to you, do wah, okay? Keep your hands cupped, make sure you really have a good cup, and then just go. One thing I want you to pay attention to, I'm not just doing one speed all the time, right? Sometimes I'm going slow. Sometimes I'm going fast. Same thing with vibrato. Sounds great if you can do it. Takes a little bit of time to get it down. For tip number 5, another thing you want to pay attention to here when you're playing is using your bends a lot. A lot of players, when I work with them, they'll tell me, hey, you know, Jonah, my playing is not very bluesy. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And then I listen, and they're just not using their bends a lot, okay? So you can use your bends as just another note in the scale. That's cool. You could do that, right? But a lot of the character, a lot of the spice comes from you doing your bend and releasing it. Okay, we can call that a bend scoop if it's really fast, like that, or just, you know, a slow released bend. Really adds a lot of bluesy character to your music and something you're going to want to focus on when you play. Now, a scoop is what happens when you go into your bend, right? Now, when you come out of your bend, what I call this is a dip. So, like, let's say we play a phrase here. And then right at the end there, you're going to do a bend. Do you hear how, like, wailing that is? It sounds so good. You know, those little things, they add so much character, okay? So if you play slow, you occasionally mix that with something faster. You throw some major and minor notes in there. And you just use some expression in the forms of wah and bend scoops and dips. Your slow blues playing is going to sound really great. Now, I want to bring your attention to an old slow blues riff video that I made. It's a couple years old. It's done outside, so it's a little messy, but the riffs are really good. So check that video out up here, and I'll see you next time. Peace.